Hey guys, Rick Stone here from Stony Acres Gardening. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about curing, cleaning, and storing your garlic. So if you're anything like me, my garlic's been curing here for about 3 weeks. It's ready to be cleaned up and put into long-term storage. And so I thought, since I'm doing it, I'd do a video for you guys today. So there's kind of 3 steps that we need to go through to make sure that we have our garlic ready for long-term storage. So let's go through and talk about those steps. So the first is curing your garlic. We want to make sure that we let our garlic sit in a nice airy spot for at least 2 weeks. It's going to be somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks. It depends a lot on where you live. So for us, we live here in Utah. It's the arid West, very dry air in the summertime. It doesn't take long for our garlic to cure. If you live somewhere with higher humidity, it may take longer for that to happen in your area. So 2 to 4 weeks is probably what we're looking for. What you want to do to make sure that it cures well is give it somewhere where it can get plenty of airflow. So for us, our garage seems to be the best place. You want it out of direct sunlight, and we don't have an out of direct sunlight spot outside. We don't have a covered patio or anything like that. If you've got a covered patio, that would be great. Our garage is actually a pretty good spot, and I have built this screen. So it's a screen with a chicken wire mesh on top of it, and we will just cover that with our garlic, and that gives plenty of airflow for that garlic to cure. And so, you know, just lots of airflow, out of direct sunlight, 2 to 4 weeks is usually what it's going to take. Now, how do you know when it's ready? So we're looking here at some soft neck garlic. That's all we grew this year. But here are kind of some of the cues to know that it is ready to harvest. Number one, this outer layer or 2 even of your garlic is going to become very papery and dry. Then your roots are also going to be crumbly and dry. That helps to know. And then you're also going to notice that this is nice and dry. Now, if you're going to braid, this is the stage at which you would braid your garlic. For us, we don't like braiding. We tried it the first couple of years that we grew garlic. You know, this was like 15 plus years ago. We just didn't like it. It was hard to manage, and it just didn't fit our style of what we do. If you like to braid garlic, awesome, go for it. But we don't do that. So we don't braid garlic. So instead is what I'm going to do is I'm going to just clean this garlic up. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this neck off, and we're just going to leave just a little bit. And then this is another really good sign that your garlic is cured. If there's no moisture right here at the neck where you cut it, if there's no moisture, then you know that you're in pretty good shape. Then I am going to go ahead and trim off the rest of these roots to the best of my ability, maybe kind of give it just a little bit of a scrub to make sure that we get as much dirt out. And then I like to kind of just peel off this outer layer just a little bit like that so that we get the bulk of the dirt off. I'm not looking for perfection, but we want to get, you know, kind of the bulk of the dirt off, okay? So that's ready now for us to harvest. Now, you'll notice some of these, for this variety, these are actually 2 really nice bulbs of garlic with some really good beefy cloves. And so both of these I'm actually going to set aside because I know that I'm going to be able to use a lot of these for next year's seed. So these 2 are probably going to go aside. I'll probably try and find 1 or 2 more, and so that we have, for us, we grow about 3 dozen a year garlic. I know a lot of you will think that's not even garlic. We're not giant garlic fans. We use it quite a bit, but not like some people do for sure. So we grow about 3 dozen a year. And so I'll set aside maybe 3 or 4 cloves and that are bulbs that are going to be our seed garlic for the year. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and clean up the rest of this garlic. We're going to be looking for things like damage. So if you look at this one closely, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since we harvested this, so I don't remember, but I obviously hit this with the shovel when I was digging it up, and so these are damaged. We do not want to store damaged bulbs, okay? Anything that has any damage, you go ahead, clean it up, and then you're just going to take it in and use it right away. So I'll probably just pull off those damaged cloves. We'll use the rest of it because of the damage, it's not going to store long term, so we want to use those guys up first, okay? Now let's talk about storage and how we store it long term. we can usually get our garlic to last until late March, early April. So we harvest it in July. It's usually late March, early April that we're, finally starting to see it sprout. Sometimes the cloves will just dry up and kind of almost disappear as it gets older. And so that's about our time frame. But we don't have ideal conditions. So here's the ideal, and I'm going to tell you the ideal, recognizing that most of us do not have this ideal situation, okay? So ideal temperatures to store garlic would be between 35 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit. That's tough, okay? Because you can't store it in your fridge because the humidity is too high in your fridge. If you store your garlic in your fridge, it will mold because there's just too much humidity. So ideal temperatures, 35 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Ideal humidity is below 60%. And then we should store it somewhere where it's dark and there's lots of airflow. So if you braid your garlic, you're going to hang it somewhere where it's dark and where there's lots of airflow. If you're going to do something like we do, which is a mesh bag, we just have these leftover mesh bags from, I think these were oranges that we bought. We're going to store them in these mesh bags. Same thing, dark, lots of airflow, so we're going to hang them. We're not going to just like shove them in a corner. We want them to be hanging somewhere so that there's lots of airflow, and then as cool as you can possibly get it. Again, I know that most of us are not going to have somewhere that's 35 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit all year long that's not a fridge, because again, remember, you can't store them in the fridge. So here's what we do. We have a nice cool room that's in the center of our basement. For now, we're going to store them there. So they will go downstairs, and probably until mid-October, they will be down there. Then, once middle of October, 1st of November arrives, this garage cools down. And our garage stays above about 35 degrees all year long. It's insulated, and so it cools down nicely, but it usually, November, January, all the way through the spring, it sits at around 40 degrees in here most of the time. And so we will bring the garlic from the basement and then hang it here in the garage somewhere. And that seems to get us pretty good. Now, again, if we could hit that ideal, we may be able to store it even longer, but it's tough to hit that ideal. So basically for you, I'm telling you, as cool as you can possibly get it, dark, lots of airflow, low humidity, so below 60% humidity. Those will give you the longest storage out of your garlic. And so just do your best. And then the other thing to remember is, in my experience anyways, your hard neck garlics don't last as long as the soft necks. So the soft necks seem to store a little bit longer. So use up your hard necks first. Now again, that's my experience, and that could be regionally what happens here in Utah. But my experience has been hard necks go first, soft necks last longer. So we work through them that way as well. So there you go. That is what you need to do. Cure them for at least 2 to 4 weeks. Then clean them up really nice, and then you're going to store them as cool as you can get in a dark, airy spot. And hopefully they're going to last you a good long time, and you'll enjoy a ton of garlic. Okay? All right. That is all I have for you for this week. But before we go, if you guys are interested in learning more about growing garlic, I have a fun, free mini course that we put together. Just barely put it together this last week. It's about a half hour long. Just kind of runs through the basics of how to plant, care for, and harvest your garlic. And so that's free. And so there's a link in the description of this video that you can click on to go over and sign up for it. I just need your email address, and that will then we'll send you this video. It's about 30 minutes long, kind of a little mini course on how to care for and grow garlic. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Link down in the description for that. All right, that's all I have for you for this week. Everybody have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week. Happy gardening.